What's going on, everybody? AJ Capasso here from Talking with the Source and Coventry Circle Paranormal. I'm here with my buddy
Jonathan Keyword from JK47 Paranormal.
So before we begin, our buddy Robin and Steve-O will be joining us. I know Robin definitely will be. We just want to give a shout out to his family because his daughter just had a baby and she just got released from the hospital. So he will be on momentarily. Steve-O has been working a lot, like I've been telling everybody. So he will probably be popping on as well. But today we have an awesome guest. But first, I want to give a shout out to Parapost Network as we are live right now broadcasting on Parapost Network on Facebook. If you haven't checked them out, go over to Facebook, check out Parapost Network. It's the home of paranormal podcasts. Amazing place with an amazing community of amazing podcasts. So go there if you love podcasts. Also, want to give a shout out to FCD Ghost Boxes, our official sponsor. Wanted to give a shout out to Nigel, and it was a birthday of his, I believe, last week. So we want to give a happy birthday live on here for him. And want to give a shout out to AAP Variety Channel for always, promoting and helping us out. You guys are awesome. But today, man, we have an awesome guest. We have Taryn Kerper of paranormal researcher and host of the 2021 nominated podcast Paranormal Brew, who's had some amazing guests. It's such an amazing show. So, hey, man, if you want to bring her in for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's bring her in.
Hey, Taryn.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. How have you been?
Good. Finally.
Looks like Brian John's with us. Hey,
Hi,
Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Finally, I'm like formally meeting you guys after we've talked a lot on the phone and messages. So it's nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you as well. I know we haven't got a chance. We've all been so super busy. So I'm so happy that we're able to get you on and stuff because I've been dying to ask you so many questions, and just with all of our schedules, it's been so wild. So super happy that you're able to join us.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So hey, John, do you want to start off with one of the questions you wanted to ask, or is it all right if I start?
Well, so when did you get started with paranormal stuff? Like, how did you begin?
So, long story short, my dad passed in 2000. I started to kind of like look. Before that, I wanted nothing to do with the paranormal stuff. But before that, I kind of was like, watching like, after my dad passed, I started to get into it by watching John Edwards and stuff like that, kind of just curious about that side of it. It wasn't until 2007 when I went to Gettysburg for my first time and I had my first experience. And I was like, wow, that wasn't that bad. Still wasn't ready to get into it. I was still scared of it, even though at that time I was like, it wasn't that bad. 2009 is when I started to I started to look more into it. I went to some Paracons, some other kind of stuff. And then finally, 2011, I want to say, I joined a group. We had 3 months of training with that group. And I was with them until I was probably with them for about 5 years, because in 2017 is when I started Paranormal Brew. So I was with them probably about 4 years, then 1 year with another group, and then I started Paranormal Brew because I was like done with the groups. I was like, there's too much drama, there's too many political stuff inside of groups, and it's like, I'm the director, co-director, team member, team lead. It was just all the politics of it was taking the fun out of investigating for me.
Yeah.
So now here I am.
That's awesome. I think that actually happens a lot. That's why I like, and with our group, we just make everyone, a host. You know what I mean? Everyone's equal. Everyone can get guests, because I see so many times where, like, I see a lot of groups where they'll like break up, or even people I've had on the podcast, like, who even were family at some point, like they'll literally go sideways because one person wants to be, the lead or this or that. And it's just like, with us, it's just like, hey man, we're all equal, so.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. But so you said Paranormal Brew started in 2017, right?
Yes. Yep.
So
I
just want to ask, what got you into doing the podcast?
So we were kind of when we left the other group, because there was two other people that left with me, Beth and Mike, their names were, and we were talking, and we always talked about how we would have these awesome conversations, just anything paranormal. We could just talk for hours about it, you know. So originally it was like, let's just start talking and we'll record ourselves, and you know, because we have some of the best conversations. And then so originally it was just airwaves only, so it was like Spotify or Mixler, you know, or something like that originally. And then I discovered Facebook Live, so I was like, I want to do Facebook Live, you know, I want to do that instead, you know. And originally didn't have a lot of guests on. It was just roundtable stuff because that was originally our whole point of it.
Yeah.
But then shows started coming out that were everything was a demon, everything's evil, everything is this. And it started to, I noticed the paranormal field kind of getting this like gimmicky name, and people were like not taking it serious outside of that. I say all the time, you know, I feel like a lot of people that make fun of it think of it as like this Harry Potter book club. You know what I mean? Like they don't realize everything that we do.
Yeah.
We're not just going into haunted locations, and you know, a lot of people think everybody fakes evidence because of all the YouTubers now. And that's not just all we do. You know, there's people that go out and they do volunteer work for cemeteries and clean cemeteries. There's people that raise money for historical locations for preservation. There's people that raise money for animal rescues and wounded warriors, you know, veterans and stuff like. So there's so much more that we do. So then I said, all right, I'm going to gear this in a different direction. I want to have a guest on who does things like this in our community, whether it's podcasting, whether it's paranormal groups that, you know, really do good job at investigating, you know. So I'll kind of watch a couple of their live investigations, and if, you know, I'll say, come on and we'll talk about it. And also other people. I was fortunate enough to have Jason Hawes on in November, and and he's a
amazing
friend of mine.
episode.
Yeah, and he's a friend of mine, but he's also very, 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 very busy. So I was fortunate enough to have him on, and for him to come on and say a lot of the stuff that he said, you know, that there's a lot of people that are enthusiasts or something like that that are watching, and they can hear from somebody that maybe they look up to. You know that this is how it is, and this isn't. When you're watching these other ones, this isn't how it is. It's not, you know. So yeah, that's basically how it went. And then I just kind of, I mean, I do have a couple of rotating people that come on, but it's because I think they're awesome. You know, I love the research they do. They're knowledgeable. You know, Duo Demonology, they're always on. Kenny Biddle, he's always on. You know, I have Kenny on quite a bit. Don Moner, Dr. Haunted MD. If you guys never had him on, he's great. He's so awesome. He's a physician. He's an ER physician, but he also does paranormal investigating.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see that one. I didn't get to see that episode. I'm going to have to check that out after this, because that sounds so awesome. I love people in the medical field that are in this, you know, field as well, because that brings even more credibility in my opinion, you know. So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, also police officers. I mean, Ernie Atwell, he's a police officer, but he does his paranormal investigating. He just wrote a book. You know, people like that. Those are the kind of people. You know, I have a couple of, you know, for real now, legit parapsychologists, you know, that have come on, and there's also somebody else very interesting, Justin Bamforth. He's a researcher of. He doesn't say UFOs, but it's like extraterrestrial Men in Black type stuff that he writes about. So, but I do enjoy having them on a lot. So,
absolutely. I mean, John, we've had people that look at. He says, don't forget about the counselors for drama within the groups.
Yeah,
Brian, that's great.
Yeah, that's so true.
What I was gonna say was our sponsor, FCD Ghost Boxes. Nigel actually got into making his spirit boxes because he's a big into UFOs, different dimensions, and he was like, these interdimensional beings can probably use the same frequencies that we're saying as spirits. And so we got into it, and then it just like kind of went up from there. And when we had him on and he was discussing it with us, I was like, I never even like crossed my mind. I mean, paranormal has so many, in my opinion, subcategories. Like paranormal is just like a giant generalized name, even though a lot of it's known for spirits now. But
Right.
just to have those type of people and having good people around you that, would come back on that are knowledgeable and stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because I say this all the time. My opinion, I always say as humans, we have to put labels on everything.
Mm.
So how do we really know a Bigfoot is really a Bigfoot? Somebody gave it that name,
Yep.
or, if it exists, like that's something that, what's a ghost? Everybody gives, we think Casper, with a friendly ghost. Like that's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I mean, we give things labels, but how do we know it's just not all the same thing? Just it comes in different types of, it presents itself in different types of forms and stuff. We don't know. We really don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I see that a lot. We always have to label stuff. Always have to, excuse my snorting, but we always have to label stuff. Yeah, I know. I just did a total snort
It's
live.
I do too.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, hey, Robin, I did want to introduce you as well. This is Taryn. I'm sorry he was the one who had just baby. So.
Hi, Robin. How are you? Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, the double arches.
Yeah.
I'm very, very busy at the minute, so.
Oh, and congratulations. Right?
Thank you. Yep.
Congratulations.
Grandparent, granddad.
Yay.
Right. I call him the old fart now.
Yeah. Get her started early.
Here.
Do a little mini ghost hunter. Get her started early.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, his whole family does it, believe it or not, with him, which I'm
awesome.
like, wow,
Yeah, my eldest son and my mother-in-law.
So, hey, John, do you want to ask a question, or Robin, do you want to ask Taryn a question before I keep blabbing off like usual?
No, carry on. I'm just going to knock my camera off for a minute and quickly eat my burger, and I'll be back on again.
There you go. No problem, man. No problem.
Yes, Brian, McDonald's.
So, Taryn,
I do love
wanted to ask
McDonald's.
you, you were talking about your first experience at Gettysburg. Like, can you explain a little bit about that experience? Like what happened that night when you first got involved?
So, my mom is the one that I say drug me to Gettysburg my first time, because I didn't know about Gettysburg. I was like, I'm like, what is fine? I'll go. So grudgingly we went. She wanted to take one of the ghost tours, and the ghost tours there can be either the candlelight storytelling, campfire-y type tours where they walk around, or they have this other people that will do from 12 to 2. They'll take you to certain spots and you do ghost hunts, and they use their equipment. I had no idea. I was very I knew nothing about the paranormal field at that point, So we were using K2 meters and stuff, and we were back at this creek bed, and I was just standing there not knowing what to do. My mom's all into it over there at the group and stuff, and all of a sudden one side of my body, now this is the summertime, it got to be, I was so cold. I was cold. The other side was what I was sweating, which is so weird to me. It felt so weird. So I was like, why? I said, I'm freezing cold over here and I'm hot over here. Like, what is happening? I moved, it went with me, it just didn't, I couldn't wrap my brain around what was happening. So they came over and they had all kinds of stuff. I apologize. I don't remember what equipment it was. I know maybe one might have an ambient temperature type gauge thing where they were pointing this thing at me, and like, oh my gosh, yeah, this side is 63 degrees and this side is 99, or whatever. And then sorry, Brian distracted me with this guy. And then I noticed that anytime anybody would come near me, it would go away completely.
Yeah.
But when I was standing by myself, it was there. So then they left me by myself, and they started doing EVP session. And at one point, the one girl leading the investigation said, "Do you like her?" And we listened back, and there was a male voice saying, "No, I love her."
Wow.
I was like, "Well, he needs to stay here."
Yeah, 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 right. That must have creeped you out for your first time.
It
Like,
did.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I was like, wow. I was like, wait. I was like, explain to me how this happened. Like, what is that? Where's that voice come? Nobody was talking when we were doing that because we were all in this like circle. You know what I mean? I was like, nobody
Yeah.
said anything. So that was like my first, and I'm like, it really wasn't that bad. And then the next night, this is the same time me and my mom were out in the park, and at that time you could be in the park until, and when I say park, I mean battlefield, but it is just the park, because the whole town is the battlefield. But
yeah.
you had to leave. You were allowed to be there till 10 o'clock at night. Now it's half hour after sunset, but so it was like right before I had to get out. It was like 9:45, and she wanted to get out. We were at the wheat field. Now, mind you, this is the next night. So I had that experience the night before.
Yeah.
I had a little trouble sleeping.
I can imagine.
We goes, and she's like, all right, now I want to go out. And so we're sitting there, and she wanted to at 9:45 at night where it's pitch black. There's no lights there. You know what I mean? So, you turn your car off. You can't see nothing. She's like, I want to go into the wheat field and I want to talk to the spirits. I was like, bye. I was like, I'll wait. Right. We're discussing this. I'm like, I'll wait for you in the car. And then I smelled something horrible, and I thought she had farted. I said, "Did you fart?" She's like, "No, I thought that was you." And I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "It's horrible. It literally smelled like rotten eggs, like just." And then on her side of the window, there was like something hard. It wasn't a hand, but it was like something like hard. It was just like boom, 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 really hard. It shook her side of the window and everything. I took off. My foot on the gas faster than she could say, "What are you doing?" Like I was like, took off. I was like, "What was that?"
Oh, I would have been freaking out too, especially your second night. Like you were just attracting them.
She's like, "I want to talk to him." I was like, "I will stop. You can get out. You can walk back. You can go do what you want to do." I was like, "I am not going to be in this park any second longer," because I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
So that's Monica. Hi, Monica. She was one of my clients in California. She's
I do know that I found out later gunpowder can have that sulfur smell as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm in Gettysburg and I smell that smell, that's what especially if I'm not feeling anything threatening, I'm not feeling anything like that. Like I just contribute it to gunpowder.
I wanted to ask you a question. You know how you said you felt that cold feeling on one side, and that's something as paranormal researchers we obviously experience a lot in certain situations. But I wanted to ask you this because I've been hearing from certain people. I've never personally experienced it fully. I've experienced something like this, but have you ever experienced, instead of a cold spot, have you ever experienced like a hot area? Have you ever experienced that? I personally have not, but I've been hearing from some researchers that some people try to say, oh, if it's hot, it's a demon, or what. And I'm like, I don't really believe that, obviously, but I've had people tell me that who've been in like very haunted locations and said, yeah, we've had a situation where it's been like very, very extremely hot that we've been able to measure compared to the room temperature. And they were like, it was very odd because normally we experience cold, we don't experience the hotness. And I just wanted to ask if you ever experienced anything like that throughout your years of being a researcher or anything, because I personally, like I said, I haven't. But
I've never felt anything hot. And luckily I'm not going through the change, or else I would contribute to a hot flash. But I've never felt anything hot at any location ever.
No, me either.
Mm-mm. And to be honest with you, that's the only time I've ever felt cold like that. I've never. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever felt anything like that. It was so. I'll never forget it because it was so strange to actually feel that the temperature difference on both sides of my body. It was just it was the weirdest feeling.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially when you're in an area where it's it's warm and everything, and then all of a sudden you get this ice cold.
We were outside, and we were even outside. So,
yeah, I mean, like that's wild.
And it's just, and nobody else was feeling. I mean, people, and like I said, if anybody came near me, it would go away. So people would like try to put their hands to feel. They would feel it for a second, but then it would just go away.
Wow, yeah.
So yeah, it was
It's like a transient, energy. Yeah, Brian, he just said I've experienced warm but never hot. Yeah, I should have said warm, not technically hot, but yeah, exactly. I've never personally experienced it, but I wanted to ask to see if anyone has experienced that, because I have been hearing certain situations from people who have been able to measure it with temperature and all that kind of stuff. And I've always experienced cold like you have, but I've never experienced anything like warmer in that situation, like a hotter feeling. So that's why I wanted to ask, because I know you've had years of being in this field now and doing everything. So compared to that, I felt a hot touch across my arm before. Oh, that's pretty weird. Out of all your
well, I do think though when you get on a private investigation. So if we're talking that, my first home investigation, I did feel like burning on my back, and there wound up being what looked like red little tiny handprints
yeah
on my back. I felt that before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it felt like a little bit of burning, but it wasn't like how it was, like that ambient temperature where I'm walking into a complete hot spot.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about too, about having like either getting a mark or something along those lines and feeling that burning sensation. But yeah, no, I was talking about like they were saying that they were able to measure like a temperature gauge, like in a transient, massive energy differently. And I'm like, I've never personally experienced, I've always experienced cold, but thank you, Brian, for validating that somebody has experienced that, because I've only had a select few of people who have told me that. But tell me, after
John
John
Huntington said that. So
yeah.
Brian said he experienced.
No, I wanted to say
warm,
Brian, John, for saying about the experience in the warm. But yeah, no, thank you, John, for John Huntington, for telling me about the hot wet touch across your arm. See, I've had experience.
To answer Monica, because I saw Monica, I've never spelled gunpowder like that. Well, first of all, you have to remember their gunpowder is 155 years old. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Pretty old. No.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to her about that. It's just that is a smell. It's that and like honey, like sap. I smelled a lot there, and I did read about, and I had to search hard for this, but I did read that some of the soldiers would use tree sap, honey, sap from the trees to close wounds if they didn't have anything to close a wound.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember going to Gettysburg on a trip a long time ago, and that place is just supercharged with energy. Supercharged.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It really is. I mean, I think that now 98% of the EVPs or evidence or personal experiences that I've had there have all been intelligent, which you would think it would be the opposite because of the tragedy that happened in such a short period of time. You would think a lot of it would be, residual. However, I think, when I go there, I feel, that the men and women that are there love. I think the people that come to honor and to pay the respects and to drive through this park and to learn about what happened here and to still pay, that honor and all and respect to these men and women that fought there. I mean, I really do think that that's what keeps a lot of the energy there, and when I say keep, I don't mean in a bad way. I think they love it. They love all of this honoring of them, and and I think that's why they're there.
I totally agree.
So speaking of evidence, we got some pictures here of Gettysburg. So I'll bring those up, and you can kind of go through them here.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are absolutely amazing. I've been dying to share these. So first, hey John, you want to go to like either the mist or the soldier first, and then we'll go back to the museum so she can explain a little bit about that.
So here's the original.
Yeah, so check this out. Taryn, go ahead and explain this. This is just an amazing full body apparition capture right here.
So this was 2010, and when I go to Gettysburg, I go not just for paranormal. I go for the history part of it as well. And I was using a Sony digital camera. This isn't from my phone or anything like that. So it was a digital camera where you would have to go back and put your little SD card in there and, upload the pictures.
Yeah.
So I was taking scenery pictures that day. We were just driving around during the day and got back to our room. And now the girl I was with, she wasn't into the paranormal at all. And I literally probably would have deleted this picture if she didn't say, wait a minute, go back. What was that on the railroad tracks? So we zoomed in and I see this thing and I'm like, holy shit, what is that? She was like, there was nobody on the tracks at that time. I'm like, there was nobody on the tracks at that time. Like, what is that?
That is wild.
And I looked at other pictures of what people looked like on the tracks on the opposite side of it, and people were wearing, you could tell the difference. I mean, they were wearing tank tops and shorts and sneakers, and there was kids and men and women, and they were solid. You can tell the difference between this and what one of those.
You can see the rocks through the mist. You can see the distinguishing color characteristics between like a coat and the boots.
Yeah.
And if you look at the shadows up here, you can't see the rocks as to where you can see the rocks through it. And it's just an amazing picture. You can even see the tree leaves here through his hat.
And it's safe to say since 2011, that is the only apparition photo I've ever gotten.
Yeah, they're really rare. I mean, I've never seen one like this right here. This is one of the best apparition pictures I have ever encountered, I think. And like, wow, out of like 10 years. I mean, this is such a great capture. And you know what? Like, even when we were in Montana, John, remember we came home and like I just handed your wife the camera and she's the one who spotted the mist in our photo. Because I would have done the same thing as you, Taryn. I would have probably deleted the photo, not even thinking.
And and like I said, now let me put it for all the skeptics out there. This is what I believe to be an apparition photo, and what other people believe to be. I'm not saying it's 100%.
Of course.
Hands down, you just have to put that out there, because then you got people that say, how can you claim that's real? Well, I believe it's real. And I had it, like I said, I did not put this photo out for at least a year and a half until I had sent it out to people to try to either recreate or try to debunk it, basically, more or less. And they came back to me with, that, and one of them was Mark Nesbitt. Thank you.
My wife says, wow, that's awesome.
Mark Nesbitt, who is with Ghosts of Gettysburg, and he's 30 years researcher. He's also a licensed battlefield guide tour. He's a historian and an author. And me and him had a conversation about it after he had it, and came back and said he's 99% sure that this is an apparition photo. So to me, that kind of did it for me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just have to say, like, with that coat that he has right there, this is a picture in the museum that they edited a little to make it a little bit darker so you could tell. But I mean, the coat to the boots, and if you look up some of the old photos of what they wore in that war, like, you would see that it's a clear resemblance. Like, without a doubt. I mean, like you said, though, you do have to say the skeptic thing. So I do get it, but that's one of the best photos I've ever seen.
To me, I believe that's what it is. So for me
too.
This is my soldier. So this is my boy. And every time I go there, I'm like, thank you.
I know. I would too. I totally would too.
Yeah. So, and people will say to me, and Mark Nesbitt even, that it's a Confederate soldier, but to me, the jacket looks more blue.
Yeah.
But it. Did I send you a picture of how far I went? Because the first picture, you can see how far away I was. I was up.
I was up on a bridge. Do you have that one by chance?
This is the original. Yeah, this is the original here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, take us off the screen. Yeah.
That's just cropped.
Yeah, cropped. So how about the one that we just showed, Taryn, in with the railroad where they had the circle around it? Because I know that one showed a little farther away.
Yeah. So
You must have been at least.
To answer Monica's question, I don't know how far away I was. Pretty far.
Yeah, you could tell you were far.
Yeah, I was pretty far
But
away.
you can, in this picture, you can see the shadows are going the other way across the track.
Yeah, those are trees on the other side. Yeah.
So the fact that there's no line leading up to it, there's no reason not to believe it's not a spirit.
I don't know what else I mean, and then Mark had then got back to me too and said that the last Confederate grave the last grave that in Gettysburg that was raised was in this railroad cut, and it was a Confederate burial.
Wow.
So he said, given the history of all of this and everything, and I've gone back, I've taken pictures, same time of day, different type of cameras, this and that, because I don't want to put anything out there that's going to jeopardize any credibility for me. I mean, you guys know how I feel about integrity and how I feel about credibility. So.
Yeah, I just have to say to all our viewers out there, Taryn, Brian, John, all them at Parapost, I mean, they literally take this field as if it's their life, just like we do, and they're very big on integrity. I mean, they contacted me to let me know about a guest that was coming on. I mean, that was on about all this stuff when they didn't have to. They didn't know me. They didn't know, that we never talked before. I mean, and that's how much they truly cared about this field. They truly care about this field. And, I know genuinely from getting to talk with you, Taryn, like I know 100% that this right here is a genuine capture that you captured. And this, like I said, this one right here in the museum, which I'll have you talk about the museum in a minute, but this one they made darker so that you could see the figure. The first one that we showed was the original photo that you took with the camera, but I know that was completely undoctored. I know that, you went back there multiple times probably and tried to recreate this yourself, as well as waiting a year just to put this out so you can get it checked. So your credibility is beyond belief. And anybody who doesn't know that can definitely look deeper into your
absolutely
into yourself, because I mean, you guys are, you, Brian, John, like I said, all you guys over here at Parapost are very, very big on integrity, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I didn't see Brian's. He said, I would be curious to know how much is residual compared to intelligent. This photo, I believe, is residual. I think. I mean, I only guessing because it looks like he's not really paying attention to me. It looks like he's looking in a different direction. But again, I was far away.
Looks like he's looking off to the south there of the tracks.
Which that looking that way, goes out of town, out of town. And this is around the first day into the second day of the battle there, this area. So, and the Confederates were pretty much dominant in this whole area. So,
yeah,
hi Nighthawk. But yeah, that is like I said, that's it. I got that, and I said, that's it. I don't got a ghost hunt anymore. That's it.
I know. Seriously, you're absolutely right. I mean, I could have lived with evidence like that for sure. I mean, but then again, I'd probably be so intrigued to keep going now because that would just blow my mind. So you're probably now even more addicted.
Exactly. I mean, you know how it is when you get EVPs. You just,
yep.
You're like, oh, like yes, I got one. Who cares? You listen to 5 hours of audio and you get.
I'm sorry, mic drop right there. Thanks, Brian. I was just thinking the same thing.
But all it did was just feed that investigator, researcher in me to want to. Now, for a while, I'll admit my camera went everywhere with me, because I'm like, okay,
yeah.
But again, that's it. That's the only one I've ever captured. And I've taken.
You caught this mist. We'll go to that one real quick.
Again, Gettysburg. Okay, so this was with a full spectrum camera. My full spectrum camera. I love taking pictures during the day because, as you see, the photos come out really cool. Some of them come out amazing when you have trees with different colors and this
Absolutely.
and that. I mean, it's gorgeous. And this was when I came across, this is the first time I ever saw this monument in Gettysburg. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I'm going to take a picture of it. I believe anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. I can't remember 100%, but I think this is a Connecticut monument. And I had found out afterwards when I saw the picture, I was like, wow, that's pretty weird. The sun wasn't shining. It's not glare, so, I couldn't explain it. And I researched a little bit about the monument, this and that. And when I found out that a colonel was mortally wounded there, and that monument was for that colonel. I am not saying that this mist is associated with the colonel. I'm just saying that there's a reason that this was put there in memory of that, in honor of that colonel. And there's this mist. And if you look, you can see up in the trees a little bit. You can see a little bit up higher. Not that first one. Go over to that darker one. This one, yep. And if you go up that one a little bit, go up. If you can
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
A little bit, you can kind of see how it goes off.
It overlaps the tree almost. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm not too concerned with what's up there. It was like right here was really cool to me. And I've developed it on a negative. I've developed it on, all kinds of stuff, and it's still there. So
that is absolutely awesome. That is that's so awesome.
So again, my only missed photo. As you see, photos are very hard to come by, but
no, these are not easy photos to come by. Not at all. I mean, seriously, it's not that often where you see great, still images. Like for me, like I've been saying, please excuse the person, trying to vacuum upstairs, which I don't know why they would do that.
Oh, right? I don't even hear that yet.
Okay, good. But a lot of the times I will, like not pay attention to a lot of still images, because there's so many things where skeptics will be like, oh, it's this the light, and being a photographer, I know that the camera can have certain things, but these two pictures that we've seen, I mean, that right there is just straight up, in my opinion, proof. Like no, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, guys, what do you think?
Nobody hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody was like, oh, I can prove anything wrong, but by all means, please, but
I'm just looking at this stick in the background because it's very defined and dark, right? And you can see how it's in front of it, but you can see through it because you can still see some aspects of the stick here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that mist, seriously. I mean, if you also think about it too, I mean, obviously this could be just, my mind thinking this way, but if you do think about it, I mean, that kind of does, resemble to me like somebody standing up, what I mean? That mist, the way that it comes down. And I mean, but then again, like I said, that could just be pareidolia, but still.
No. I agree with you. I thought the same thing. It almost looks like somebody's like reading the monument, or, what a person would do if they got out to look at the monument, or if they, were there at one point, so this, this is pretty cool. I keep this as one of my positive photos, because I feel fairly confident, that's a miss,
absolutely. Just like what Will just said. He just said the picture of the mist is very good quality and meets what people report seeing. And I've read a lot of reports that about this type of stuff, and also certain battlefields seeing soldiers like that, not ever captured though, but seeing come out to certain areas of brush like that. And I totally 100% believe that you captured what we would know as a spirit. I mean, 100%. I wouldn't even try to debunk that, to be honest. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, I appreciate
Look,
that.
you got Robin so excited he's driving there right now.
I know.
Robin, aren't you in the UK?
Yeah, I'm driving, eating, drinking, and on the put. No, I'm joking on that. Our secretary's driving.
Hi, hello.
Hi. Yeah, I told them to log in. I didn't want them to miss the show, and I'm like, listen, man, just log in. It doesn't matter. We'll put you on mute. Just join us, when you can. We know you got your, granddaughter on the way, so no big deal. But
yeah,
hey,
she's getting home. AJ.
Yeah.
She's getting home tomorrow.
Oh, the granddaughter's getting out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Awesome. So happy to hear that. Taryn, what I wanted to ask you was, about this picture right here. John, if you could zoom in. So, did you feel anything in this area, or was this just you snapped the picture and you were able to catch such an amazing, light anomaly like that?
So, this was a place called Columnsill, PA, and I was telling, you guys before we went on that this is like a kind of a megalith park where Wiccan and witches and people of that go there to kind of do their meetings or whatever they do. I apologize, it's just because I don't know technical terms and stuff like that, but it's been there for a while. It's acres and acres of land of all these rock formations. One of them, there's one that looks like a mini hedge, what's that called? Hedgestone, right?
Yeah.
There's also this huge rock in front of an opening into, it looks like a cave, but you can't move it, which me being who I am, I was like, I gotta go in there. I want to see what's in there, but you can't move it. Anyways, we were walking up, and I was walking because there was like a castle, a mini castle that was there. So I was going to take pictures of that, and I heard like this. So I was going to take a picture of the castle. I hear something over here, like a whisper, and I kind of just simultaneously, when I was going to take the picture of the castle, kind of went this way, and I looked. And I just took a picture, and that was what was in the picture.
Wow.
So I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't, like, I know we don't look at orbs as anything. I don't want to say it's an orb, but it is a light anomaly. I heard a whisper. The sun was not shining. I mean, I don't, and I know you guys can only take my word for it because you weren't there, but I don't know what that is. I've never gotten anything like that ever again on any photo.
Well, I was going to say, like you just said, obviously playing devil's advocate, orbs, we obviously have to be careful with dust and all, all certain things. And like I was going to say, with the camera wise, if the sun was out and you said the sun wasn't out, obviously, during this day, I would have been like, oh, it's, probably reflection with the lens and the mirror in the lens and all that stuff. But, you could see like how solid it is. And also with the background of that place with, the witches and pagans and all the people that go there and do rituals and certain things. I mean, who's to say that that's not a ball of energy of what we would know as spirit? So I mean, I think it's a great capture, but that's the reason why I wanted to show the two amazing apparitions, the mist and the apparition first, to show that you're not always getting such amazing stuff like that. Like there is times where you get stuff that's amazing like this, but compared to obviously a full body apparition, it's a little bit different. And I still think this capture is a really great capture, and I'm glad that you're able to share with us about what you were feeling in that moment and hearing that whisper, because I always was wondering when I saw this picture, when you showed it to me today, I was like, I wanted to ask, like, oh, what made you take a picture in that moment? Mm-hmm. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, me with pictures, AJ, though, I love pictures. You get the hint that you want to take one, just take it.
Yeah. He's one of the best people I know at images. I don't know, man. She's got you beat though.
Yeah, probably. But I just think when you have it in your head that there's something there or a picture should be taken, just take it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Like if I were to put them in order, obviously the soldiers A, and then the mist is B. This would be C only because I don't know 100%. I just know what I was feeling, what I heard, and then I took a picture, and that was there. So to me, it might have been something.
Yeah.
Something. Who knows?
No, absolutely. I mean, also, like I said, hearing the background of like, you hearing the whisper and you just immediately turning around, snapping the picture. I mean, that right there, obviously we can't verify because we weren't with you, right. But I know from experience, like when you have an experience like that and you're able to snap a picture and just being able to catch something on camera, whether it be, you know, this light anomaly, which is not like a normal orb, you know what I mean? This is like a solid light anomaly, like a ball of energy. So I find it awesome. I really do.
Yeah. And when I was taking that, I didn't see it.
Yeah. I was just about to ask that question.
So I didn't see it when I was taking the picture. You know, and that's it. That's my picture. Those are my 3 pictures. Now EVPs, I have millions, but those are my 3 pictures.
No, that is awesome. Brian, that is so cool that you and Lex captured an apparition on Monday. I'm definitely going to be, we're definitely going to be having you on the show. So I can't wait for you to share that with us as well. Also check it out, on, through, sorry, on Parapost Network. You could check out, Brian and Lex, with their podcast. I'm sure they're going to be sharing that. Yeah. Super excited to see that. It's Through the Lens with, Brian and Lex.
Yeah.
And, definitely check out their podcast. They have an amazing podcast. I wanted to have you talk a little bit about the museum that you actually, that some of those photos were captured in.
Oh, you mean hung up?
Oh, that's what I meant. Hung up. I'm sorry. Hung up in.
So the first one, they were called. So this is Mark Nesbitt's place, actually. Mark Nesbitt. I have all of his books. He's somebody that I've always looked up to, and you know, you go in his store. It's called Ghosts of Gettysburg. And in the front of the store is like, you know, all his books. You can take a tour with him or his group, you know, and they do candlelight walking tours. And the one thing with their tour is that the history you're getting is legit. The history, you know, so you're also getting a history lesson while you're taking this tour of these supposed haunted spots that they're taking you to. But he has all these pictures hanging up, and for years now, I've been going to Gettysburg since 2007, you know, and I gave him my picture in 2010 and he like said yes, and I'm like, awesome, are you gonna hang it up? Yes. And then finally one day this past year I go in there and there it is. That's
awesome.
I'm like, oh my God, it's like winning an Oscar, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no,
100%.
100%.
You know, your picture's hanging up in his store, and it's, I mean, I couldn't ask for it to be anywhere else. That's where I want it. And awesome. It's amazing. Like this has been his wall forever, you know. And I always walk in, I'm like, you know, picture yet?
Yeah.
And there it is. So huge shout out to Mark Nesbitt for that. I love that. I mean, I was so proud of myself when I saw that.
No, congratulations. Honestly, absolutely congratulations. If you could just share with our viewers again where they can check this museum out.
Oh, that's in Gettysburg, on Baltimore Park in Gettysburg. Yeah.
Cool.
The brick.
Yeah. What about the brick?
So after my first visit to Gettysburg, there's something, I don't know if you believe in past lives. I don't even know if I believe in past lives, but I believe that was probably my home in every single lifetime except this one. Nice. I have the coordinates tattooed on my arm for Gettysburg. And then, you know, so Gettysburg is very special to me. I go probably 12 to 15 times a year, which is why I have most of my evidence is from Gettysburg. You know, mostly everything I have is from there. But my girlfriends, so they do this thing. There's the Lincoln Square, it's called, that's like the kind of center of the town. And they do memorial bricks. You know, as people walk around, you can look down and see like all these bricks. Well, yeah. My Peaches, I'm a part of Peaches Paranormal. There's 8 of us. We're all really close. We're all best friends. They just got together and got a brick for me in Gettysburg. So in November, there's going to be a brick with my name on it.
That is awesome.
In the square in Gettysburg. And it's going to say Taryn, Kerper, Heart and Soul.
Because congrats.
Because they say Gettysburg is your heart and your soul, hands down. Like, so I was like, now I'm going to be a part of Gettysburg forever.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paranormal Mayor of Gettysburg. Absolutely. No, congratulations. That is so cool. I wanted to say what you were saying about past lives. I've studied like over hundreds of thousands of cases of past lives because it really intrigues me. And yeah, newly elected. Absolutely, Brian. And they actually, there's some neuroscientists that has actually said that our brain is actually like stopping us from remembering certain things of that past lives and stuff. Like, whereas that filter of our brain, like as our brain is, it acts like a filter for us. I think it like blocks that energy. And from watching all these things and all these articles and all these studies of past lives, it's kind of hard not to kind of believe when you really dive into them, because how did little kids, out of nowhere just start speaking about something, and then parents are able to validate? I mean, there was a kid in India that literally brought his family over. I mean, he said he used to live in India, and the family actually took a trip out to this village, and he walked up to the neighbor's house that I guess supposedly killed him, and they did an investigation. The kid led them right to the bones of his own bones, and
that's crazy.
They put the person in jail. I mean, it was just wild. I couldn't believe it. I mean, so
there's even a little boy that was born that remembers 9/11. Apparently he died in 9/11.
That's crazy.
And he remembered the whole experience. He's like 4 years old, just learning to talk, and and his mom's like, "What are you talking about?" They found out.
Yeah, I never believed in it until I watched a show one time on PBS, I think it was, but it was a long time ago, and there was this little boy on there that said his name, said who he was. I think he was like 3 or 4, and the doctors and the PhDs and the scientists and this and that, they're all involved, and they showed him all these pictures. He pointed himself out. That was me. He's like, I was in a movie once. This is the name of the movie. I was a extra. He said, I was an extra in this movie. I go over to a gun case and I pull a gun out and I put it back or something like that. Sure enough, they go and they research this movie, and here's this guy. The picture he pointed out is in this movie. I said, how do you explain that?
And it was an old movie, right? I believe I watched that same thing. It was wasn't it an old movie?
Movie, yeah. It was an old movie. Yep.
AJ.
Yes.
No. So I'm going to check that out. The Ghost Inside My Child.
Yeah, that one is a very good show. I'm sorry, Robin. What were you saying?
No, Sam, we had a case like that over here. I was telling you about with them twin girls, if you remember.
Yep.
They were 7-year-old, and they died in a car crash. The parents survived, but the twin girls died. And the parents went on to have another set of twin girls, funnily enough. And when they were driving down the road one day, when they were about 6 or 7, they were pointing out the window to where the crash site was and saying, "That's where we died."
Oh, wow.
I couldn't imagine being parents and hearing that, right?
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
I would be like, what?
What are the odds?
Yeah,
what are the odds, though, that they have 2 twin girls that pass away in a car accident, and then they have another set of 2 twin girls?
Right.
I mean, just that in itself is like 1 in a million, So, I mean, there's so much to it. I mean, the more and more I research, especially about the brain and all this stuff, I mean, hearing neuroscientists talk about how they believe it's a filter for the energy and all this stuff, I just find it absolutely fascinating. And there's just so many possibilities, and with your photos and our experiences as paranormal researchers, I mean, it just opens up so many doors.
It does. And, it's interesting because before my first trip to Gettysburg, I hated history. I knew nothing about history. I didn't know about Gettysburg. I knew nothing about Gettysburg. I didn't want to go. My mom begged me because she didn't have anybody else to go with. I said, fine, and I didn't want anything to do with the paranormal. And my first trip to Gettysburg, I was like, this feels like home. Like, I cried when we left because I didn't want to leave. And it was just this instant pull. Like, I actually got home and booked a trip for 2 weeks later to go out there for 5 days because I was like, that I need to go back.
That's so cool.
And all this wonderful things, come out of it. I have tried to research my family because a lot of my family my dad's side came from Germany to Pennsylvania. So my dad's side's all Pennsylvania. I found out that my 3rd great-grandfather actually died of a massive heart attack on Big Round Top in Gettysburg.
Wow.
No, he wasn't part of the war or anything.
No, but still, yeah.
So I found that connection. And then I also found that there is a woman buried in the Evergreen Cemetery, which is next to the Soldiers Cemetery.
Yeah.
She has a hyphenated last name, but her last name is Kerper Deal. So but I'm still trying to find the connection to her to my Kerper side. But yeah, so those are two roots that I found so far. But
awesome. I mean, sadly what happened to your great grandfather,
right.
Just having that connection, and then also you having just like, because I hated history all through school myself, but going there and then having that pull from inside you, I believe that was definitely, your spirit or your energy just telling you like there's a connection here, and then sending you on this path that you've been on is just it's truly amazing.
It is. I'm very thankful. My mom doesn't let me forget it every day that she's the one that started this journey for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's cool. And I love doing it. And, I mean, even to this day, I mean, where Paranormal Brew is right now, I've never sat down and said, okay, this is where I want Paranormal Brew to go, or this is what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm just going with it. And I mean, I've met so many awesome people, and a couple of a-holes, if you will. I mean, we've all bumped into those. But for the most part, and now, Paranormal Brew is I'm part owner of BB3 TV. I'm producer for Through the Lens for Brian and Lex, and Brian's been awesome with bringing me aboard Parapost and working with him, with Parapost and Honophobia, his Honophobia page, and so, and then I'm in talks with like other little things here and there, that I don't know if they're going to come to fruition, but hopefully they will. Paranormal Brew coffee, but that's like way down the road. But it's just little
that
things.
Is awesome.
So I mean,
Brian's a great guy.
Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still up for debate, but I guess so. I
knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, no, we love Brian.
No, he's a good guy. Person. I love him. Yeah, I love Brian for sure. So, and he puts his time and effort into it, and that's what I like.
He wowed you.
That was me just seeing if you were still watching.
Yeah.
I knew he wouldn't let that one go.
No, he would not let that go. Nope. That's great, though. That's great.
And you guys are awesome. Like, thank you so much for, I mean, we met because I had to expose someone that was on their show, but, you guys are great, and you guys, really handled it well.
No, we can't thank you and Brian enough. Seriously, like I said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're a little podcast, you know what I mean? And we focus a lot more on, what we do in the research side than we do on a podcast. And we just recently started really, taking this more seriously with the podcast, because I never meant for it to be that way. But for you guys to reach out the way you did, I mean, and then present, the way you've reached out was just so respectful of both of you guys. And even April, Brissett, she's amazing as well. And I can't thank you guys enough. Seriously. I mean, what you did for us, and then bringing us a part of Parapost. I mean, that I'm going to be grateful to you guys forever. That's why I told Brian, if there's anything I can ever help you guys with, please, I extend that to you and April and everyone, even Jay Hill as well. Please let me know, because I will 100% always be there. You guys.
Absolutely, because we wouldn't have known if it hadn't been for you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it wasn't, my thing was, he's going to ruin the integrity of all these people, and he's going to ruin, because eventually it's going to come out, eventually things are going to come out. And a lot of things that he said on your podcast, he didn't say on my podcast. So as you guys are interviewing him, I'm like, ask him this, like trying to get him to get caught up in his lies,
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, it just, I'm very thankful that I met you guys and that you listened, because, unfortunately there's going to be some people that don't listen to that, and, and they're just, promoting his lies and whatever agenda he has behind what he's doing, there's nothing good that's going to come from it.
No.
So,
and this field doesn't need that right now with all the other little stupid things and
absolutely
going
not.
on with YouTube and stuff now. I mean, this field needs to be taken more seriously, and it's sad that YouTube is allowed to have that kind of go a little bit sideways. But hopefully, real researchers like yourself, Brian, Lex, just all of us. I hope that we can show that there is something more to this field. And like I said, we're truly grateful, and we've been actually we've been doing, like, we've been finding out if he goes on a show, especially Robin in the UK. We've been letting them know what's going on, because that's not okay. That's not okay for people to take this field where it's like people's loved ones, or just anything along those lines, and disrespecting it in that way. And as much as we all take it very seriously, I find it very disrespectful. But I cannot thank you guys honestly enough. I mean, seriously.
The only thing that I wanted out of it is that going forward is that I've learned to do my research on people. I mean, I was embarrassed that I didn't do it, because when you step back and you think about it after it happens, you're like, why didn't I look into all this? Like, this sounds so crazy, but at that point I hadn't had an issue up until, I mean, everybody that comes on is either, word of mouth or, a friend referring, and, it's this was the first time, and it'll be the last time. If there's somebody coming on my show that wants to come on and then does it, and I don't know who they are, and they're claiming to have this and have that, I want to see your credentials. I want to see your certificates. I want to see what you got going on.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you so much. Seriously. And like I said, if we can ever
help Brian, honestly, thank you.
Yeah, seriously, thank you guys. And keep up the great work you, Lex, and all you guys are doing. I mean, it's amazing. But
give me a call, Brian.
That was actually our first time, because normally I'll have people on that I could verify through either their channel or something to make sure. And that's why I told these guys after that happened. I mean, I didn't think too much of it, because I trust all of my guys on here, and John was the one who actually met him first. So I was like, oh, you know what? I said, John's one of the most skeptical people in the world. So if he could pull it off to John, then I know that something's going on, So
you know what he was doing? He's a master manipulator.
He really is.
And
he really is.
Me and him were talking every day.
Yeah.
Since September, until he was actually on my show in January. So when you're talking to somebody for that long, you still, your barriers are broken down, and you don't really think to, you think you become friends with somebody, and you don't think you have to really look into it, and I think if there was one podcast where he said every single thing, everything that he has said on collectively on about 40 podcasts together, then that would have stopped him in his tracks. Because when you compile all of that together, you're like, there's no friggin' way.
Yeah.
This is true. But he broke it up into pieces. On your podcast, he was saying a couple of things here and there and adding on to stuff he said on the mine. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just this one podcast where he said all this stuff,
Yeah.
But I try to tell people, because I went through it too. I beat myself up about it, And so I know how people feel after they find out about the truth. And I'm like, I've been there. You got to just learn from it, and so that's what we're doing. It's learning,
No, absolutely. I mean, then, like I said, to have people like you guys in the field that are willing to reach out, whether it's a big podcast, a small podcast, anything. Like I said, we were literally we were nobodies. We were small. You know what I mean?
Don't say that.
No. I'm saying we were like, I mean, and just to have you guys take that integrity and honestly just let us know what was going on. I mean, that speaks volumes to me as a person. And like you said, we talked to him, and it was sad because we entrusted that personal stuff with that, and we try to, everyone who comes on, we treat them as family, and we were all pretty hurt by that situation. But like I said, we met amazing, great people. So in the same time as it was negative,
right,
we met you guys, we had more opportunity. I mean, showed us that our podcast is a little bit more than what we thought, at least what I thought.
Yeah.
So I mean, it opened up so many great doors, and like I said, we just can't thank you enough. So
awesome. I'm glad that it's become a positive experience for you guys, and you deserve it. I mean, we all deserve it. We all deserve to be heard,
absolutely.
and we all deserve to share our experiences. We all deserve to share the people that we respect in the field, and have them on our shows, and share live investigations without being, ridiculed by others or be taken advantage of by people like that,
Yeah.
who just want to exploit whatever it is that he's doing,
Yeah.
and use our platform as a way to do that. And
Yeah.
he came on the wrong podcast.
Oh, and I'm grateful that he did. I'm grateful that he did, because I try to give everyone, the benefit of the doubt. But like I said, normally we have a verification through either a channel and seeing people's work, and we just entrusted, this one time to that, and we were just grateful that people that we didn't know at the time, you, Brian, all them, like, had our backs before we even knew, you guys had our backs, and that was truly amazing. And we've been trying to give that same support to other podcasts that we don't know, that we hear about when something's going on like that. So we greatly appreciate it. Would you mind coming back on, soon for us? Because there's so much more I want to talk to you about. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Guys, you have any other questions that you want to ask before?
No, I just like the pictures. Those are great, especially your Gettysburg one.
Yeah, amazing. Proper amazing.
Are we? Is it all right if I put a watermark with all your information and stuff on those pictures and post them on our podcast page?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Appreciate that so much, Taryn. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming on, and I will definitely be talking to you later on, so we can definitely schedule you again, because there's so much. Like I said, I want to get more into the podcast and everything. So but for anyone who has been watching, or anyone who will watch, I put all of Taryn's information down at the bottom at www.paranormalbrew.net. Check her out on Parapost Network, BB3 TV, Facebook, social medias, and any other places that you want to shout out. Hondophobia, you name it, we got them all. So
yeah. I just started a TikTok. I don't know how to use it yet, but I'm gonna try it.
Hey, there you go. Awesome.
So I just started TikTok.
The question is, are we gonna see some dance moves?
I'm gonna attempt it.
There we go. Awesome.
I'll try to do the moonwalk and on a location.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. That's awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much, Taryn, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you.
Wow, guys, that was so cool. I definitely want to have Taryn back on. She's been a major part of her, Brian, JL. Everyone at Parapost. They've been a huge part of us recently, and I just think it's great that we got to have her on and speak a little bit. And I look forward to having Brian on too. What'd you guys think, man?
Really good.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Those pictures, I'm still in shock about. What do you guys think?
That train track one just blew my mind. Just like Robin's when I saw it for the first time. It just was amazing.
It makes me feel like, dude, I should be taking way more pictures. You know what I mean?
I'm so concentrated on talking with them, I don't even think about the pictures.
Me too, man. Me too. That, the video, trying to run equipment, it's it totally slips my mind sometimes, but that's awesome, man. Well, we just want to once again give a shout out to Parapost Network on Facebook. You can check us out on all social medias, as well as a new YouTube channel we just started for all of these videos. And we plan on getting a bunch of the audio up on different streaming platforms. We want to thank Taryn Kerper again. Make sure to check out Paranormal Brew. It's an amazing podcast, as well as Brian J's podcast, who's part of Parapost. They have been such an major influence to our podcast. We can't thank them enough. So head over to Parapost, give them some love. And
AJ, the day's not over.
No, I was just about to get there. So wait, you announce it.
No, guys. So stay tuned. In the next 50 minutes, we're going to have Beyond the Veil on. So they're great paranormal investigators, and they're on Paraflix, I believe. Aren't they?
Yeah. Beyond the Veil Investigations. We have some clips we're going to show, and we're going to also talk to them to see what else we can add as well. But Amazing group. You can check them out on social media as well. But we will be back on in about I don't know what, 50 minutes or so.
50
so
minutes. Yeah,
it's been an awesome day to start. So thank you guys. Love you guys.
Thanks
We'll talk to you guys in
everyone.
a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.